Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to Mirror Interpretation to Drova. My name is Ioana and I am an interpreter based in USA with Italian, Bulgarian, Russian, Macedonian, and English, and some Ukrainian and some Spanish. And today I'm so excited and so happy to create another video related to cultural awareness. And I have a very special guest here. Her name is Natalia and she is based in UK. And I will give the word to you, Natalia, if you like to present yourself in English, and you can do the same in Russian if you like to, but Russian is not obligatory because this video would be mainly in English. Go ahead, please.
That's cool. Yes, thank you, Joanna. Thank you for inviting me and for having me here. I'm really delighted. As you said, my name is Natalia. I'm based in the UK, but I'm originally from Russia, from Siberia, which is, some people don't even know where it is, but yes, it's a far place from Moscow. I'm an interpreter and translator from English into Russian, Russian into English, and my C language is Spanish. I have been working as an interpreter and translator in Russia and the UK for 13 years, almost 14 years now. And I've been doing all kinds of stuff from legal and oil and gas and radio electronics to immigration and all other freelancing bits and pieces.
Wonderful.
I really,
Can I ask you a question? I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Forgive me. It's because you remember before we start this video, I did a small testing on you, and I was wondering, did you do any medical? Because your vocabulary is impeccable, and I was very impressed by your performance.
I've done a bit of medical because I've been accompanying some people to appointments with doctors, and I've done some interpreting as well over the phone with medical. So yeah, I do have some experience.
Beautiful. And do you travel for trade fairs? Are you offering business to business simultaneous? We know every simultaneous is different. Have you done that? Do you have any experience? And are
Yes, I
you
have
willing?
done. Yeah, I have done a lot of simultaneous or consecutive interpreting in business settings, both like in-house, and I've been traveling a lot to different fairs in Germany, United Arab Emirates, Spain, and other countries, Argentina as well with Spanish. And I really love this part of the job, traveling.
I wish I would travel. I started business few years ago, and I'm so melancholic about it. I'm kind of a little bit jealous. I have never been to Argentina. I can imagine it's beautiful.
It is amazing, yes.
Okay, so today we're gonna create a video that is called Cultural Awareness, or I give it another nickname, 10 things considered rude in your culture, in your country, or in the mindset in where did you grow up. And I'm gonna read questions to you, and I would just be very pleased if you can share your cultural backgrounds and the beliefs in the system there. Anything you feel free to share. So I'm gonna start right away with the first question called timing. And in basics, what is considered to be on time or being late or being early for an appointment? And if you like to communicate on the both settings with friends and with business appointments, and is there any difference between males and females? For my country, for example, it's kind of normal for ladies to be late. It's considered must, and something like that. Please go ahead and share with us.
Well, yeah, it depends. As you said, on males, females, business, friends. We're not as bad as maybe some nations in being late, but also we're not as good as Germans, for example. So we're not as punctual, I guess. In business, I think it's almost everywhere that it's a common practice to be on time, like on time. But yes, I know that some businessmen can be late, depends on their status as well in business. Some of them think that it's okay for them to be late and people can wait for them. But in my personal experience, I I don't have a bad experience, to be honest, with businessmen. With friends, yes, it can be absolutely different. It just depends on people. Some people are always punctual and actually come earlier. Some people are always late. So yeah, it depends. And me personally, I prefer to be earlier. I prefer to be on time because I don't want people to be waiting for me, basically.
That's
And also,
forgive me, I want to ask you a question about this. The reason that I ask you is because I noticed that in different countries in Europe, when you do strictly business, everybody consider on time being 5 to 10 minutes early. And in a smaller countries that have less economical power, if you want to say it like that, or the people are like not able to do business in a certain levels, they would be on time exactly on the dot of the clock, or maybe 1 or 2 minutes to 5 minutes after the appointment
Yeah,
time. How is that work with your culture?
we don't have the strict rules. So people can be either on time, 5, 10 minutes late, sometimes half an hour late, but this is something which I have not encountered that much,
So if it's
basically.
highly like very successful, very powerful man is accepted to be late, kind of culturally, maybe 5 to 10 minutes is not a big deal. Is that correct?
Exactly, yes. And well, especially politicians,
Oh.
they are always late.
Same in my
Yeah,
country. I was thinking that just in my country we're a little bit in the past, but I understand that. Okay, yes, in my country also sometimes when people are late for appointment is also to demonstrate their power. It's kind of a dominant
yeah,
behavior and it's normally done purposely. It's not
that's right.
accidental. So very interesting. I have another question. It's about dress code. Number two, in the country that you're born versus the country in which you live, because I understand that you're born in Siberia, which is this beautiful forest place north,
Yeah.
and you live in UK. Can you say um, what is there like any type of a dress code or something that you find out that was different? For example, in my country, dress code for ladies is considered to wear something very on your body, to have a cleavage and so on, a short dress, something extremely like Latino culture, extremely appealing. And when
Okay.
I moved to Italy and then I lived different countries in Europe, and then when I moved here into USA, this type of wear, female wear, if you want to call it feminine wear, it was not appreciated in a work field, in a business field. In Italy, particularly, they give you a tagliere, a special jacket with a
Yeah.
skirt
Yeah.
that they have to be up to the knee. Very elegant, I would say, very beautiful, very sexy, and all that. But it's with a very strict on. Button-up shirt is obligatory. Like the dress code there is specifically strict. For the lipsticks, they train us what color, why, for
Yeah.
every culture. Is there any meaning also for the men's? They had some requirements as well.
Hmm.
Can you share something about your culture, please?
Sure. Yes. I can't say a lot about Siberian dress code because I actually didn't work there. I was born there, but then I was moving around in Russia, and I worked a lot in Moscow. So I can actually just elaborate
Just
on that
comment
bit.
on your own experience. Thank you.
Yeah, 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 sure. Um, it depends again on the company. Some companies have a very strict policy and they tell you what to wear. And normally it would be a lot of companies prefer like black and white almost, and um, certain length of a skirt. And yes, the no cleavage, definitely. It used to be like that in the when the USSR split in the 90s.
Yes.
Yes, especially like secretaries used to wear this very fitted dresses, very short skirts and things like that. But these times are past, basically. So now it's different. In some companies, there is no dress code. I mean, within the reason, there is no dress code. So you still have to be very professional. You can be very sexy, but it has to be professional, basically.
Yeah, and the reason that I ask you is because in some of these trainings, they comment on the, let's say, sport clothes. I know some people in my country, for example, it's not obligatory. And when I was working in Italy in Rimini Trade Fair, they didn't oblige us to wear this dress code. But I noticed the people that were wearing poorly had less job than me, let's say it. This is the truth. We got to be honest here because a lot of people want to be beautifully represented, and
Yeah,
and you get paid also for the way you look, unfortunately, believe it or not, for males and females both, without any
that's right.
differences. And they also train the guys, for example, for the beer size or the color of your socks if you want to. I know this could sound a little bit too much,
It's
but
Italy.
a lot of people, especially from Eastern or Russia, they would like to wear these Adidas wearing. You know, that's also in
Yeah,
my
I know.
country would be like
Yes.
in the small villages, if you wear Adidas, it's a big fashion. It's something very you know, like a big thing. And a lot of people will bring this fashion with wearing
Yeah.
Adidas black pants with white strips or something like that to these meetings, and they will think that they are looking great.
Oh, okay.
And so in some, for Italians, they laugh on this type of businessmen, I can tell you, because you know Italians are great at fashion. But do you have any cultural things that you find that are not appropriate to wear in a business meeting specifically? Any restriction, or that it's not like it's forbidden, but it's not seen as good looking, let's say it like that.
Well, definitely sportswear. I have never seen that in Russia. And to be honest, I've never seen it in the UK either so far. Um, no short skirts, no sandals. Um, it doesn't have to be a tie. It doesn't
Yes.
have to be anything like very formal. Sometimes I notice in the UK they wear jeans and a shirt. That's normal as long as it looks professional. I mean, the shirt just gives you this professional feeling, and you can wear jeans, but with proper like shoes, and you look good. That's how people go to meetings in the UK and Russia the same, basically.
Beautiful. Third question is about money. In some of the business meetings, when I'm talking government to government or business to business, where I interpret, I noticed that this is a topic that is not welcome. And I just
Okay.
wanted to ask you your like inside opinion about money talk. Is it okay to talk about friends, family, and then is it something that you see in business meeting? Is it an open conversation or is kind of taboo? How do you think that this is?
In business, with friends, it again depends on the friends, and you know your friends, so you can talk money with some of them, and then you rather just avoid this topic with others. In business settings in Russia, it's okay to talk about money. Most businessmen would ask questions. Russian businessmen, I mean,
Yes.
it might scare foreigners,
I
but
noticed.
yeah, but Russian people sometimes don't have this restriction, so to say, don't have this rule.
So they're very open in, because I noticed
Quite.
that while I was interpreting, in fact, with Russian, some of the businessmen would literally ask about the deal, about the offer, and they will ask if
Mm,
they increase the number, how the deal will change. And a
sure.
lot of the businessmen or people that represent those companies in the trade fairs were not willing to give a number,
Yeah.
and they were just reps of the companies, and they want to give this to the higher manager to respond or to make the negotiation directly. So, and I noticed that Russian, they were like, time is money, so let's just go straight to it. And
Let's just jump into it.
I really enjoy that part. Wonderful. What
That's true.
about?
Yes.
I had one experience with Ukrainian businessmen, and I was just curious about this. This is why I include this question. How is seen in your culture ordering alcohol? And I'm talking during the day with friends. For example, in mine is even with no friends is seen as a bad, like a bad sign. Let's say the people judge if somebody order themselves, even if it's Sunday and they have a beer for
Mm,
lunch, or even the Italian culture that they will order wine with their supper for lunch.
hmm
It seemed like really badly. It's badly judged. And I was wondering if you can tell us also about in business meeting how that looks like. I assisted
Okay.
somebody ordering a beer in a trade fair for lunch. It was before lunch. It was like 11, and all the Italians, they just turned to me and they give me this look. But they did still bring him the beer though. They didn't mind. And he kept having beers, and all the meetings went with beers.
Okay.
And he was not drunk. I will tell
Mm,
you, he was not behaving inappropriately or anything like that. He just offered himself a Heineken
okay.
and order, and all the people look at very strange because in these most advanced countries this was unacceptable. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. I've never had experience of people drinking during the meeting. We did have lunch breaks during the meeting. So like we go into meeting at 9 o'clock in the morning and the meeting is too long. And then we go to have some lunch. Sometimes it's on the premises, so on the site.
Yes.
And yeah, we can have we can share a bottle of wine with lunch. And that's okay. And I don't remember that like someone gave us any looks. So that was okay. But it wasn't like a business lunch. It was more like a lunch break, and we could talk like chit
Relax.
chat, yeah, small talk, things like that. And then we'll go back into meeting after lunch, and I mean without drinks or anything, and we'll just carry on talking business. So that's how it is. And or sometimes my boss invited his business partners, his suppliers, clients for a dinner after the day finishes. And yeah, it's completely
Normal.
appropriate to have
Yes.
to have some wine for dinner.
But not
Yeah.
during the day, because
No.
in these trade fairs that I went business to business, where government's contract is closed for normal people, it is just people that have certain positions.
Sure.
And when you sit there, you're not even ordering or paying it, they're
Yeah.
just giving it to you for free. They ask you, do you want coffee, juice? I don't, they ask different people, and they have beer because Germans like beer. I noticed because I've been working with Germans a little bit, and
Okay.
they will have this in their culture, and it's not it's kind of considered manly there. I don't know why.
Okay.
But so during the day is not something normal in your culture to offer to order.
No, no, I haven't. I don't know about that. Yeah.
Yeah, in my country, same thing. During the day, it's bad. Okay, number five. This is very interesting. While I was working in the trade fair again, in some trade fairs, especially these ones for big hotel chains where they, I don't know, interior design for hotels and all this, they would have also like bakeries, I don't know,
Hmm.
wine. They will have everything that a hotel and a restaurant of the hotel or anything in tourism will need. And
Yep.
they would have gifts for the buyers. Some of those gifts include wine or some testers or different things. And I remember I had this very pleasant winery that they wanted to give wine bottle to a gentleman, and he didn't want to take it. He was
Wow.
feeling like he was ashamed, and I said, "Hey, I guarantee you Italian wine is good. Like it's considered a good symbol of a business
Sure.
relationship to accept a gift like that." And also not long ago I was interpreting for big organization Suzuki Motors for some Russian gentlemen, and they all had gifts for me, and I felt so ashamed because these chocolates with St.
Yeah.
Petersburg. I felt so bad because here was blizzarding, it was snowing so bad that I didn't buy anything for them, and I felt so ashamed. And I wanted to ask you, like, how is in your culture to go to a business meeting? For example, in mine, for ladies, it's okay not to have gifts, even though I personally like to bring something small like a souvenir, not a real gift, but a sign of a
Yep.
respect. But I did not in this occasion. But normally, if I go to dinner or anywhere I go, if it's not some kind of a strange circumstances, I would bring flowers and wine and something. How in your culture is considered to show up with empty hands, with friends or with business? How is that like?
Um, yeah, with business, I will start with business. Normally in the company I worked for, where interpreted most, people, clients, suppliers would come with gifts. They would bring like souvenirs because they were coming from all over the world, from like China, Japan, and they would bring, of course, their national traditional gifts, and sometimes even alcohol. And I mean, it was acceptable in Russia. It's okay to bring
Yes,
gifts to business meetings,
like
and you don't have
liqueur,
to.
like
Yeah, yeah,
whiskey.
yeah, like yeah, spirits. even.
Yes.
And you don't have to give anything back. You don't have to give a gift at the same time. You can have a gift when you go and visit them, for example.
Oh,
And so
beautiful.
you don't have to exchange gifts on the spot. So that was okay. I don't remember I've had any souvenirs for the clients. Yeah, maybe I should, but again, in my culture, it's not a norm. It's not a rule. So I guess that's why. Yeah.
That's very beautiful. Yeah, I noticed that for males, it's not something that people say, but I noticed that I interpret for German gentlemen, I interpret for like high society
Yeah.
Russia, and I noticed that these very powerful men are also can be very sentimental and very sweet, and they
Yes.
always gonna have something small for you. It's like
Hmm.
so kind. And for ladies, I find it very feminine that ladies just receive. I think this is so beautiful in your culture, guys,
Yes.
because it's so beautiful to still like respect the gender roles, but still be masculine and still be respectful in your like profession boundaries. Just with
Yes. Yes.
something very small like that, I really admire that part. Thank you for
That's right.
sharing. And number six, I had experience with shaking hands. In some culture, I also interpret for Kazakhstan, Kafkas, all these very close to Asia countries that do speak Russian or some slang of Russian, if
Yeah.
we want to call it like that. And some of, or like Tatarians, I don't know how
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
say it in English.
Tatars. Yes.
Tatars, yes. So I noticed that, especially the ones that are Muslims, or some of Ukrainian gentlemen that I work with, they don't shake hands with ladies.
Okay.
And for me, I didn't know that. The trade fair that I was working for, they train us for some things, but nobody tell me that I should not shake hands. And I didn't even think that there was this type of people that were Muslim. I was thinking, oh yeah, Russians, they're Christians or no religion,
Mm.
because of the communism. And then I find myself in this very awkward situation to give my hand and nobody want to shake it. And I put myself back and I read a little bit and I discovered that in
Yeah.
high society it's considered that you should not shake hands with females. Can you tell us about that? What about friends shaking hands? Is that something?
In Russia, friends don't shake hands, and we
Do you
do
guys
kiss.
kiss or hug?
Yes, we kiss, we can hug, yes, but we don't shake. I mean, guys shake hands, but like male and
Ladies.
female, no, ladies just kiss.
On the
Yeah.
cheeks or on the mouth? In my country,
Oh
you
no,
kiss on the mouth. Sorry.
on the cheek, on the cheeks.
Just one. In Italian, three kisses. First time I get three kisses, I sweat. I was not sure what was going on. And then
Just
I
one.
just one.
Yes, yes,
Okay. Nice, nice. I see. In Italy, three kisses. For
yes, yes.
this is
I
very
think
classic.
in the UK, I think is you can go for two.
As
Yeah,
maximum.
both cheek. Yeah,
No kissing
yeah.
in America. You gotta
Mm.
know this. Handshaking. That's very awkward for
Okay.
it. It's completely like normal.
Yeah.
And yes, with women's in my country, we don't shake hands either.
Mm.
Here, everybody shake hands. We're
Yeah.
so called in USA. We are like, we go to a barbecue, we shake hands. You know what? Everybody shakes hands here.
Yeah, that's funny.
So
Yeah.
so it's not considered normal with friends, and same thing goes to business. Ladies are just ladies.
No, business actually, I shook hands with business partners, but yes, maybe an exception is Arabs. Sometimes it's awkward with them because some Arabs actually would want to shake your hand, but some Arabs wouldn't return it. So yeah, it depends.
So
Yeah,
you
it's
wait for the
tricky.
other side to give the hand, and then you give your hands. You don't just go for it.
I was also in awkward situation when just went for it because I was just stretching my hand and waiting for a handshake, but it never happened. But then I guess I learned that, yeah, okay, I'll wait.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me as well. I learned that in my trade fair, they train us that, I don't know if you know what's Ramadan in Muslim culture.
Yes.
It's considered to abstain yourself from contact with others
Yeah.
in order to get higher spirituality elevation or something. I have respect for that. And we were all trained that for Muslim gentlemen, we just do like this. Also, for some of the Asians, you do like this,
Yes.
which I work with, or just with the head. But I didn't know that that was happening also in other cultures. I was thinking, oh, when they wear this long wear, I would know to do like this. But sometimes they're very modern,
Yes.
and you cannot tell. And I noticed that I would just wait and see if the other side is willing to shake hands, and I will do so.
Yeah.
Another question is taboo talk, which means, is
Hmm.
there anything that is not okay to talk about? For example, money, job, domestic violence, intimate relationships. For example, in my country, intimate, it used to be a huge taboo, and
Mm.
everybody will be like so virgin. This was
I
like
know. Yeah.
something necessary to be accepted by the society, unfortunately.
Mm.
And I had a fiance for 10 years, let's say my ex. And once I decided to leave this relationship, there was a very, very much questions about this, how the society is in the small places. I
Yeah.
notice not only in my country, but I see the same thing happen in Italy. I live in
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
15 countries. I could see this in Canada. I could see this here in the USA. Just people like to mind your business.
That's true.
But there's still some kind of a taboo talks here in America. This intimacy talk, there is no taboo here. I think the taboo things, it's on TV to see nipples, I don't know why. Forgive me, guys. You could see so much inappropriate things in this country that are way more scary than female breasts. This is one, and the second thing is breastfeeding. Here in America, it's very, you will never see woman breastfeed. It's kind of considered like a sexual harassment. Forgive me for mothers that
Mm.
I breastfeed. I have a lot of respect for mothers that have babies. I work with a lot of Russian ladies that breastfeed, and I'm always telling them that I'm so proud you guys have babies. But the truth is that here in America, it's not like a taboo talks, but it's some things that are not culturally okay.
Mm.
You cannot see a mother breastfeed at the park, for example. It's something that is not okay here, and people doesn't even talk about it. Separately with that, they will talk openly about sexual relations
Okay.
in public and all around. And I mean, I'm living in a very big city, of course. Denver, it's about bigger than my country. It's about 8 million. So let's not forget about this. But still, there wouldn't be such a thing as a shame or like be afraid of talking about something. I oppositely to my culture will find this a little bit too much to be
Mm.
so intimate or sexualizing or these kind of things that I don't find so charming. On the other
Okay.
side, in business, we were all trained. I know whoever did business in Europe not to talk about politics.
Mm.
This is forbidden. But I would still see some gentlemen have small talk, politics or sports. If they're from different teams, that could be a big problem. In Italy now, you know what's happening with Europeans. Everybody's excited what's gonna happen today. Maybe it's happening
That's
soon.
true. Yes. 2 hours.
In 2 hours, yeah, I was watching. So I know how, as Napoleon said, Italians lose football matches or football games as a wars, and a wars like a games, because they really get so passionate about
Oh yeah.
football, and they're not so serious about wars. For them, it's like such a thing to be a football player. It's like everybody's dreaming, everybody's a football player there. Another thing. So, can you tell us something about taboo talks in your culture? Same with friends or acquaintances, and same with a business.
Sure. Well, with friends, I mean, I guess all of us know this saying that there was no sex in the USSR.
Oh,
Basically, yes, and the people. I mean, that's a kind of a very known phrase, and that's why, I mean, people didn't talk about intimate relationships in the USSR, and it's kind of it's dragging on still till now, and friends don't really talk about that, very rarely. So it has to be a very intimate friend, a very close friend that you would talk about it. So you wouldn't talk about it in public
It's kind of
and openly.
suppressed.
Yes, yes, you would talk privately about it. And it's not normal to talk about it with your parents, for
It's like
example.
shameful.
Yeah, kind of, it's just, it's not normal.
It's not normal,
Yeah,
and it's just
yeah,
cultural
yeah,
thing. It's completely, I understand.
exactly, yeah. And in business settings, we wouldn't talk, I mean, we'll try not to talk about politics, but it's not a taboo. So people do talk about politics a lot. But I don't remember talking about religion. So I
Never.
think, yeah, religion is a taboo. Yes.
Wonderful. This is very interesting. And I want to ask you a question. Just we're talking about the cultural differences. I was just working with, I mean, you know, I work in the emergency and I was interpreting for this, I believe it was Tatarian neurosurgery procedure. And in medical, sometimes you see you, not your patients, but you see the clients naked, which for me in the beginning was very
Mm,
uncomfortable. I was not used to that. I had to do some self work to not be so uncomfortable with
sure.
this. And it took me a lot to kind of not feel ashamed for them
Mm,
because, you know, I'm fully dressed and we are torturing them or doing something, some procedure, especially when they are conscious. They
mm,
have, this is when I interpret when the patients will have some procedure, but they will be still awake and they will understand. And I find out that the males were feeling very uncomfortable by female nurses. Um, Anything related in medical, they would kind of apologize if there is something going on their down there in their intimate parts in medical. For me was very surprising
mm,
because of course I have this duty to keep everything secret, and I make sure I tell them, don't worry sir, this is normal, important is to go to the doctor or whatsoever to find help. I find a lot of the gentlemen feeling quite embarrassed by
yeah.
talking about these things. I don't know if it's a shame thing or it's like it's not, it's just because they are not used to talk about, they are not like culturally
Yeah.
comfortable with that. What do you think?
Well, to be honest, I don't think any man like would like that environment. I mean, because he's already ashamed
By being sick?
by being there, by being sick, by being in the with female nurses, and then your presence as an interpreter, I guess, adds extra pressure on him because you're like a complete. I mean, all of you are strangers, and yeah, it's the same for a woman, I would imagine. If a woman would have to be naked in front of a male interpreter, that would be
Well, normally, you
shameful.
know, we have like how it's called, I don't know, I never look them. I learn,
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, we have a special
You look
position.
sideways.
Yeah, you have a side way. If he's here, you're looking on the other way.
Okay,
I'm just close to
sure,
his head and there is something. But
sure.
I noticed that this is what's making them uncomfortable. Strangely, I work a lot with OBGYN and ladies. Ladies,
Okay.
I find they feel more comfortable with ladies.
Mm-hmm.
I find out that the males in medical feel uncomfortable by having a female nurses.
Mm-hmm.
One very uncomfortable questions that the doctors ask here, OBGYN for ladies, it's about their sex partners, sexual
Yeah.
partners or intimate relationships. And I see a lot of ladies get very uncomfortable by this. This is also, is that related also about the not talking about intimacy, and is that uncomfortable culturally for a patients as well?
Sure.
Do you think that's also part of the culture that you don't talk about these things and it's
Yeah.
very odd?
Yes. As I said, it's very private, and it comes from the history as well. And people don't talk about it, and there would be ashamed in this kind of situations, definitely. Because I also went to interpret once in a police settings
Mm-hmm.
for a case when there was a sexual harassment involved,
Mm-hmm.
and there were a lot of uncomfortable questions. But I just kind of tell myself, I'm an interpreter, I'm a professional, and it's not me saying that, I'm just interpreting. It's the same with interpreting swear words, things like that. So you just, yeah, we just have to stay professional,
So let me
basically.
ask you a question, because here in America, I was trained how to deal with this
Yeah,
in different setting, in legal with cursing, in medical with cursing, and all these uncomfortable sexual related questions in medical field. In USA, they train you and
yeah,
you have already set that you cannot omit anything, unfortunately. And when I really feel very, very uncomfortable, I withdraw from the calls. This happened rarely to me, but let's say when they pressure somebody to get some medicine, or when they pressure them to get a vaccine with, Russian Siberian strong ladies, they don't want to put no chemicals in their bodies. And I respect this. And I feel very uncomfortable after the doctor asks them the same question 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. And I'm saying, okay, sir, I am not doing this, I'm here, this is not okay, I don't want to assist that, and I have the right to do this as a freelancer.
okay,
But in the same setting, I see that some people will just omit the question, and this is also going to make them lose their certificate, because we have this
yeah,
certification by following
yeah,
the rule. So in UK, you don't have any kind of a certification or training that tells you that for example, for me in court, I could say, the defendant speaks profanity, your honor, do you want me to go in detail? And cursing mother, cursing father, cursing child, cursing sexual actions. This is how I use it in polite way. I still interpret the cursing,
yeah,
but I don't say in your mother's organs, or I just
yeah,
interpret it in a way that is not so vulgar, but I could say, your honor, do you want me to go in detail? And if they say yes, I just repeat the whole thing verbatim.
okay,
In medical in medical, it's they train us here that it's very important to interpret the cursing or any kind of negative emotions that the patient can have, because this can be part of their medical or mental or psychological condition.
exactly. Yeah,
So this is two settings where I handle it slightly differently, but in the both ways we were trained to do this.
yes.
And normally, if they curse on me, I interpret this as well. And if they tell me you're terrible, I interpret this as well. And I and sometimes I just disconnect. I try my best, but
Of
I don't
course.
think they're so much badly educated people. I find only when they really like suffer in
Yeah,
a specific manner, they will use a
of
curse
course.
words. Regarding the legal, there is a lot of uncomfortable questions there.
Yes.
And honestly, for me to get off of the shame of saying something that is culturally inappropriate for me, it was part of my professional growth.
Mm-hmm.
For example, these questions about sexual intimacy, for me that was very hard to ask a married lady if she had
Yeah.
something like this. And I could see on the other side, if it's in person, I could see they're like shocked how dare you can even think like that. And so this is where we are trained to offer a cultural clarification by American standards of best practice, best protocols, which you must do. and
Yes.
and sometimes if it's a Muslim family, let's say I know they're from Kafkas or some of these countries that I know that there is no such a thing as more than one partner in your life,
Yeah.
I will make sure that I clarify with the doctor. And this is absolutely not like normal to even address, even in medical settings, compared to American culture, that not only they ask you if you had extra, but they ask you if you had with guys, with two guys, with two women, and all this is escalating, and you're thinking that you're in a mental facility clinic. For me, this is very uncomfortable as well,
Yeah.
because I'm not such a anyway. But yeah, this is very different culturally. For Americans, all these questions are kind of normal, and for me, this is like this is a little bit too much. Very
Exactly. Yeah.
interesting. And we want to talk about now the dominant behavior or anything that is considered cool in your country. Like for example, in my country, if you go to small villages, you're gonna see a bunch of people wearing the Adidas strip, and that would be like so. If you go in the center, there would be so much people trying to wear this Adidas, 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 because after we get out of CCSR,
Yeah.
we get all these
Brands.
products into the country,
Yes,
swashed from Germany and all over, and everybody was thinking, oh my goodness, we need that in order to feel civilized.
sure.
And some of these cultural things remain. This is one of it. If you go to a small place, another is being loud, offering to all. I will offer to everyone in a bar. There is something in a high society that I notice about talking business to business interpreting, where you're just kind of a little bit like a negotiator, intermediate, something like that. I see some gentlemen have this I don't know if you have noticed, I'm very observant person. The glass game with the cup of coffee while they
Yes.
talk, they will slightly put it forward to demonstrate that they're the ones that like dictate the rules if you want to. Or do you have any experience with that? Would you like to share something?
Well, we do have the same thing with Adidas and brands in especially in the countryside. I think it's the same as in your country. In the countryside, people are wearing this and they're thinking they're cool. Another symbol of coolness, I guess, is a car.
Oh
So
yeah.
having some cool car and driving it very loud.
BMW or
Yeah, like
Mercedes,
even less something
like
especially in the
Lada
countryside, yeah, something like that, but you have to drive it with windows down and
with the
loud
music.
music, banging, yeah, so yeah, something like that. This is cool, definitely. In business environments, maybe I was lucky, but I've never had this thing. I've never had this kind of dominant behavior, basically. Even
Except
my
the waiting time. Who is more powerful, make themselves wait, correct?
yeah, something like that. Because even my boss, when we were in the meeting, he was never sitting at the head of the table, like kind of showing he is the boss.
He
He was
didn't need to
always,
demonstrate any
yeah, he
power
always
of
said
dominance.
kind of, he was opposite his partners. So he was like, we're on the same level. So yeah, he was just a very respectful guy. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm. That's very interesting. Another thing I want to ask you about, have you noticed I know that we are masculine world and the gentlemen are always on power, but for example, is there any rules that ladies cannot ask a questions, or that is normal for a man to interrupt her if he doesn't think that she is presenting the product properly? Or is there any way that you could
Mm.
see this female male, not even
Yeah.
rudely, but sometimes I notice that it's not considered to be okay to be represented by a lady in certain environment. I mean, I
Mm.
will give you example: petrol pumps, gas pumping, explosions, and anything like this. There is no space for ladies in the petrol. I don't
Okay.
know why is that. I never seen a lady in a petrol, and I interpret quite sometimes.
Mm.
I don't say that companies behind these products, there is no ladies, but I never ever seen any woman. I was the
Mm.
only one, and I was working for the trade fair, not for the petrol business.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they would just take me around the tables whenever language they need.
yeah.
I would just assist there, the meetings. But
Mm.
I never saw a lady in petrol industry in any kind of field, even the pumping, the prevention, even on the platform when they have all these products for explosions,
Yeah,
there
yeah.
were only males. Do you have
That's
any?
surprising
So you
because
have a,
I have
please.
never worked on, I mean, I have never worked on the petrol side. I just worked in an oil and gas company that was, actually, it was a US company that was
Oh,
making pipes and tubes for the oil and gas industry. And they had an office, like a division, they called it, in Moscow as well, in Russia.
uh-huh, uh-huh.
But I know a lot of friends and interpreters that female, I mean, working on uh, oil production sites
As an
and
interpreter.
pumping as interpreters and pumping, and also in like in very severe conditions sometimes in the north. Or I do know because Spanish, Latin American countries like Venezuela, um, Ecuador, Chile, they're
Mm-hmm.
doing oil, right? They're pumping oil. And
Yes.
I know a lot of Spanish interpreters, females again, working there in kind of harsh environments even. So yeah.
Yeah,
I
I was
do.
not thinking about interpreters because clearly there are female interpreters, and I think there are more female interpreters in this main industry, mainly
Yeah.
industry. But in the company itself, I saw only men's. I was
Okay.
the only part that was female in this very. I mean, it's very hard. I gotta tell you, these
Yeah.
people work real hard.
Yeah.
I've been in and also in a little bit in this industry for a few years, and I saw that this is very challenging, but for some reason there is no ladies in this federal company, just the interpreters that we come from the outside for certain
Okay.
situations.
Sure.
That's very interesting. Thank you. I think that was everything. I have one more question. I was just,
Sure.
this is like an open question. Is there anything that is considered respectful or not respectful in conversation? Anything that it comes to your mind that is like, let's say something that Americans does that your culture doesn't understand and doesn't quite match with.
Oh, yeah, it's hard just to say from the top of my head. Um, to be, yeah, I can't think of anything.
Anything specific
Which is respectful. Um,
or not respectful in conversation, for example, often interrupting you or ignoring a question or pretending that they didn't hear you or answering but not giving you an answer, just
yeah, that
making you think in a certain way. For example, here the recruiters do this game when they don't answer your question.
manipulating.
Yeah, this kind of deviating behaviors. Do you see that?
Yeah, I think it's more human as well. Like modern cultural is just human that sometimes businessmen just don't want to say what they
Mm,
expected. Yes, what other people want them to say, basically. But otherwise, I mean, people do interrupt, especially if it's a heated discussion about prices, something about money. People interrupt a lot, and it can be like it for an interpreter. It for me, it was really hard
the
because
switch.
they start talking all at the same time. They interrupt each other. They don't listen to
To
each
each
other,
other.
and I mean, and you have to interpret at the same time. So actually, I sometimes I did interrupt all of them, try to stop them from talking because I had
Altogether.
to interpret.
Yes.
Yes, because
Yes.
there
So,
was yeah,
yeah, I find the same thing that the position of a business interpreter is also a little bit as a negotiator between the two businesses or two big organizations because you can make them get into agreement. Your job gives
yeah,
this extra responsibility, way of expressing, being respectful can make the deal happen. You have this
that's right.
power. I honestly believe that. This is my experience. Thank you, Natalia, for being my guest. That was very, very interesting, very inspiring. Whoever guys who watch us, me and Natalia are gonna start a project called medical terminology, and Natalia will be the role of a Russian interpreter. So this is not the first time you see her here. Stay tuned. I'm so excited that you were here. Thank you for being here, Natalia. Thank you guys for watching, sharing, and
Thank you, Anna.
subscribing. Do you want to say something as a closing statement, Natalia? Like say your education, where you're located. Maybe if somebody just catch the end, they can.
Sure. Yeah. It was pleasure being on the talking to you and being here with you today. I have bachelor in translation and interpreting, and I'm planning to do masters as well in conference interpreting. And I'm based in the UK, and I work as a freelance translator and interpreter from English into Russian and Spanish. And I have a company called Angara Language Services, and I hope Joanna will leave my details. So anyone who wants a Russian interpreter, yes, feel free. I'll be happy to help you.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna leave her LinkedIn, her company name, her email, and her information below this video. So if you do need Russian, Spanish, English interpreter and translator, do not hesitate to call us. Said that if you do need Bulgarian, Italian, and Russian that is located here in America, do not hesitate to call me. Right now, I am looking to speak more Bulgarian. I have quite a lot of Russian clients. So if you do need Bulgarian, please write me a comment below or send me an email. Thank you for being here and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Ioana. Bye.